some avalanche. Use code KSI. That's it. Use code KSI. Trust me.
You streaming right now?
Yes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this was like.
Can I stream? I'm gonna stream.
What? I was about to hijack that car.
Let's play duos.
That means cuz yeet.
Let's play some duos.
What the really? This ain't fair, bro. That ain't fair.
Okay. Okay, you wanna play some duos?
Nah, I'm good. Bro,
No?
my controller is non-stop vibrating.
One doesn't vibrate. Oh, yeah.
Bro, I got a lazy rounder. Baby up outside the block. Why? Instantly right
let
here.
me dance.
Yo, let's go.
Ooh.
Oh, let's go, bro. I'm getting legit boosted from me.
I just get confused.
She wanna ride me like a tool, but I'm not trying to lose. Oh, he's left in the dust unless your mom stuck by ya. Oh!
There you go.
Y'all, y'all couldn't even touch me. I'm too invisible. Y'all are playing like a duck
I
queen.
just want to dance, but it won't let me dance.
Fortnite loves me. Doesn't love me.
Okay. Let's go do it.
Ow! Ow!
You won.
Frick! Why do we play? Huh? You was knocked out by a fall. Frick!
Hello?
What's up, cockroach? Woo! Whee! Come on, Corn Pressure. Love me. Yeet! Kiki, do you love me?
Please, I want to play duos.
Okay, hold on, dude. I'm so close to beating this. Like when I say I'm so close, I'm so close. I'm like, I'm actually so close. Why do you do this, Kiki? Why do you do this for a living? Lee! What do you mean? Don't go any farther, Color Clashers.
I'm getting a point of new contact on me. Are you done yet?
Nah. Ow! Kids, I eat those. Ree, I eat those. I eat those. Y'all, yeet. Watch this.
No.
I eat those. Yeet. Dig it. I eat those, kid. Stop it. stop trying to play me. Lee! Fortnite, I eat those. Elite!
I don't keep taking pictures. Mama, take.
I eat those, kids. Stop it. Stop trying to play me.
Mama, say cheese. I didn't need to.
Yeet! Kid, I eat those. Stop trying to play me. Yeet! I eat those! Wee! 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 That ain't funny, bro. That ain't funny. Don't roll like that around here. Lee! 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 Creep! Creep! Lee! 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 I eat those. Stop trying to play me, kid. Lee! Oh!
Hurry up, boy.
I'm a cockroach. Ah, cockroach. Smell like a dumpling.
Oh, that hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Smell like a dumpling. Duh. Creepy like a dumpling. Duh.
Yep.
We all react differently when faced with what we fear the most. You may think you're brave now, but as these YouTubers were quick to find, you'll never know how you'll truly react until you've been put to the test.
Well, guess what? I'm already in the game.
Ha, cockroach.
Are you
Oh.
in the lobby?
Yes.
I'm in the game, dude. Wait, no. How did I get into theater?
Cause you stupid.
Yeah.
Art Jinter is trucking through a snowy road when he sees two other oncoming vehicles. One of them is clearly in the wrong lane, but there is little that can be done as Art braces himself for impact.
Stop running me out! Oh my god!
Art can only let out a shrill scream of surprise as he cuts right and narrowly avoids the other truck. It
Are
doesn't
you
look like
watching?
any of the three trucks actually
Your
touch
mom.
each other, but you can hear the raw panic in Art's voice as he passes. It appears that the other 18-wheeler was passing a snowplow truck at the wrong time, or at least that's what I see. Let me know if you have another explanation as to why this happened. Apparently, the other driver was charged for his actions. Number 10. Mike Tuttle and his friend Hunter are going to an abandoned trailer in the middle of the woods at 3 a.m. with a Ouija board to do a paranormal experiment. The creepy forest setting has them both nervous before they even begin. Let's go. Oh yeah. Almost immediately, the evil demon known as Zozo makes his presence known by repeatedly spelling out its name. Mike and Hunter quickly try to move the pointer to goodbye, but it switches to no instead. They are frantically trying to figure out how else they can end this session and make the mistake of taking their hands off of the pointer too soon. That's when something happens to Hunter in particular.
Can you kick the other dude?
What the f***, dude? Stop f***ing with me.
Dude, we're in the middle of nowhere. I gotta go get help, dude. What the?
Hunter eventually wakes up with no recollection of what just happened. He thinks he just got here, so Mike shows him the Ouija board and the video to convince him otherwise. It's unclear whether Hunter was possessed or if he just passed out from fear, but both of their reactions seem real, so I doubt this is fake. Let me know if you think this was a prank, or if something really happened
What do you
to
mean,
them
other
that
kids?
night at 3 a.m. Number 9. The Art Man channel is full of various lighthearted adventures taken from all around the country, but there's one video
What do you
from
mean?
his stay
This is right.
in Carpinteria, California that's way different from the rest. Art is wading in the water when he sees the last thing any surfer wants to see, a pointy fin barely poking above the surface.
Then press the
What?
big button, the big middle button.
What the? That's creepy.
Art watches in
You
stunned
do it.
silence as a sizable great white shark swims by the nose of his boat,
Do it.
less than 10 feet away. It's not full grown, but it's still large enough to make a meal out of one of his arms or legs if it so desires. Fortunately, the shark moves on without much hesitation, and Art makes a beeline to the shore. If this is a different kind of shark other than a great white, please let me know.
Okay, join me.
That's what it says in the video's description and title, but I honestly can't tell for sure. Number 8. YouTuber Carnage is celebrating his channel reaching 100,000 subscribers by exploring an abandoned location. He decides on the abandoned Motspur Park gas towers in London, England. The place is difficult to access, so he gets some help from a local group who are familiar with the area. They warn him about a person who hangs out at the towers who goes by the Gas Man, but Carnage seems to disregard the group's warning. They guide him through the gas towers and up to the very top. He's clearly nervous with how high up they are, so they decide to head back down and continue exploring the area. Carnage can't shake the feeling that someone is watching them. They find thick red liquid on some of the handlebars, and it makes him even more paranoid. They hear noises coming from a shed and decide to check it out. That's where they encounter a man wearing a gas mask. Terrified, the group runs away without looking back. It's unclear if this man was just pranking the group, or if he was upset they were trespassing on his stomping grounds. No further information on the incident could be found. Number 7. Guava Juice and his friends all sign up for skydiving lessons. To his credit, he does manage to keep his cool for most of the video. You can still tell at times that his anxiety is getting the better of him. Like these two instances, for example.
Please relieve my stress. I'm very nervous. Okay, first we gotta sign this just in case we don't die.
When the big moment finally arrives, Guava Juice is so overwhelmed with fear that he passes out about 7 seconds into his drop. Watch his head go limp here and then quickly snap back to attention. And this is when he passes out a second time. Each time he wakes up looking confused, disoriented, and terrified. I can only imagine how horrifying it must be to completely lose consciousness like this, only to wake up still plummeting thousands of feet towards the ground. He's all right at the end and barely seems to remember passing out until he looked at the video later. I guess it was just all one big blur at the time. Either way, if Guava Juice didn't have the instructor behind him to pull the parachute cord, he very well may have been a goner. Number 6. A YouTuber named Bradley, not Bradley, is scheduled for a medical procedure on his nose, but the doctor needs to run some tests first, so he heads to the hospital for a pre-examination. Overall, he is in a fairly cheerful mood, and you can tell that he is not expecting for this routine visit to become one of the most terrifying days of his life. The nurse sticks a needle in his arm and the syringe turns bright red. Everything seems to go fine at first, but after the extraction is over, he suddenly feels faint.
The worst that happens is you just go to sleep for a second. It's fine.
I'm scared.
You're fine. I'm right here.
The entire ordeal only lasts a few minutes total, but I'm sure it feels a lot longer to Bradley, who needs to be repeatedly calmed down by his friend as he tries not to pass out. He regains his composure and reluctantly sits up, speaking slowly and still looking dazed. If you happen to have a fear of needles, then I'd be interested in knowing if your reaction is similar or different than what Bradley does here. Number 5. Josh is afraid of heights and his family is giving him a hard time about it. They bet him some money that he won't be able to stay on the ledge of a watchtower for long. He takes the bet and this is his immediate reaction.
Oh my god. No. You gotta be out for 1 whole minute.
Josh's family ups the ante to $10 if he can make it all the way around the walkway. Pale and shaky, he inches his way across the platform, timidly clinging to the wall at times to keep from falling over. At one point, it looks like he isn't going to make it much longer.
Safe out here. Okay, I'm ready to turn around. No. I can't do it. There's people in the way. I can't stand up here.
Did you really just say that? Nurturing genius.
He's our little prodigy. Miles isn't wired like other kids. His intelligence is off the charts. I don't have an exact score, but it'll be very high.
Oh.
He's special.
What's up, dude?
Mommy, what's wrong with me? Miles is having a very difficult time making friends. I want you to tell me everything that you remember.
I don't remember anything.
Miles's brain is extremely well developed. He may need a specialist.
You must be Miles. Miles is dangerous. I don't feel safe with him in the house.
Oh my god. He's so different now. I feel like I don't know him.
Mommy? Will you always love me? No matter what I do?
But he summons all of his strength and eventually makes it full circumference. If you have a fear of heights, then let me know if you would be willing to walk around this tower for $10 like Josh just did, or if it would take way more to make you budge. Number 4. Baird Strudwick and his friends are just goofing around at a local trampoline park when they decide it would be funny to cover him in bubble wrap and do some stunts. None of them, not even Baird, expected this gag would almost cost him his life. The green bubble wrap suit definitely looks amusing, but after a while, Baird gets overheated and goes down. They quickly rip the suit off, and Baird says he's feeling okay at first. A little bit later, it becomes obvious that what he's actually feeling is the early onset of heat stroke. Now all of his friends gather around him and try to think of a reasonable plan as Baird sits on a chair with his head hanging low.
No. I didn't feel. I was gonna say you could get like a wet towel and like bring it out and just bring it out.
You ain't doing too well.
If you guys have like a hand towel, you just like.
About 40 tense minutes pass before Baird finally recovers enough to film an outro for the video. He is still drenched in sweat and looks woozy, but I'm really glad nothing permanent happened. I will admit that I didn't think anything serious would come from this idea, and the sudden turn of events took me by surprise. Hopefully this video will help us all think twice before attempting anything similar. Number 3.
I can't open my eye. It's pasted shut.
Nikocado Avocado has a serious problem affecting his right eye. For days, this eye has been bothering him. The eyelid itself has progressively become more swollen and crusted over, until finally he can no longer open it to see. Nick Ocado decides to make a video to express the extreme fear and despair he is feeling at the moment.
I don't know what to do. Oh, it's hard. It's really, really hard because the average person watching this here just like, it seems obvious, go to the doctor. For me, it's...
The only problem is he is too scared of the hospital to admit himself into one in time. Sadly, by the time he gets enough courage to go to the doctor, they have to take extreme measures to save his health. A truly a sad and scary situation all around. Number 2. Ryan Keelan and his friend Nick are checking out the Boca Raton Cemetery in search of 2 ghosts. One is named Mary, and the other is only known as the Screaming Man. These 2 spirits are supposed to reside in the far western part of the graveyard, where terrifying shrieks can sometimes be heard according to local reports. Ryan and his friend hope to spend a full night in the cemetery. They get to the western part around sundown and start to experience signs of the paranormal almost instantly.
Look, see?
Soon it becomes apparent that the lights are clearly turning off in front of them wherever they go, one light at a time.
Oh, I wish...
They are sure that Mary is trying to lead them somewhere, so they reluctantly follow, using the lights as their guide. The lights continue to go out one by one until they stop at a place where they can feel her presence. Look at this part and let me know if you can see the dark silhouette of Mary's ghost on the wall. A short while later, they both see something off camera and bolt. I think there's a good chance that their terror is real because, as you can see here, Nick is so scared that he doesn't even notice his phone fall out of his pocket. Ryan returns later with a second friend, Jesse, and they find themselves once again getting led by the lights.
See, this is the light that was flickering last time? Yep, there it is again. He's, oh boy.
This time, Ryan decides that this is too unnerving and opts not to follow. Who knows? Mary and the Screaming Man could have been waiting for them right around the corner. Before we get to number 1, my name is Chills and I hope you're enjoying my narration. If you're curious about what I look like in real life, then go to my Instagram at DylanIsChillinYT and tap that follow button to find out. I recently released a small mixtape and I'd love to know what you think of it. Tap the circle icon in the top right corner, then tap my mixtape to give it a listen. It's also linked in the description below. It's a proven fact that generosity makes you a happier person. So if you're generous enough to hit that subscribe button and the bell beside it, then thank you. This way you'll be notified of the new video I upload every Thursday. Number 1. A biker who goes by the name Super Vulgarian records the surprise of a lifetime while riding.
Novatech Managed IT.
Our server, we're under attack. We need you like yesterday.
It's really bad.
Don't worry.
We'll design a new network and migrate you to the cloud. We'll be there right away.
Ooh, we can use the time machine.
Wait! Scott,
A new life awaits you in the off-world colonies.
we have to go back.
Your call cannot be completed as dialed.
Novatech IT Management Services.
Along the right-hand side of a fast-moving highway. A sheriff steps out of the vehicle, and they have an intense conversation about the near miss. They aren't really mad at each other, just frightened and talking loudly because of the adrenaline rush.
It scared me more than it scared you. Huh?
technically super Bulgarian broke no traffic laws, and if something had happened, it would actually have been the fault of the sheriff. They confirmed that everyone is okay and part ways. Let me know if you think anyone should have been reprimanded, or if you think the situation was handled appropriately. YouTubers can have huge audiences, and with that comes the possibility of encountering people who like them just a little too much. Whatever the case may be, I'm sure these YouTubers...
Hello there, friends. Surely you know what Easter eggs are. If you don't, we'll tell you right away. Of course, we're not talking about chicken eggs painted for a holiday. Easter eggs are, in this case, special secrets hidden, for example, in a video game, referring to real events, movies, or TV shows. As a general rule, they're integrated into the game in such a way that only the most attentive people and the most experienced players can find them. We are used to believing that Easter eggs are fun. However, it turns out that in many of our favourite games there are hidden places that don't cause laughter in people who understand the subject. Get ready to cry, because today we're going to show you the 10 saddest Easter eggs in different video games. Let's get it on. Battlefield 1. In the spring of this year, users of Battlefield 1 discovered an Easter egg that frankly gave us the creeps. But let's start at the beginning. The situation takes place at the top of the lighthouse. Immediately after pressing the button, you can hear the following.
Oh my god, dude.
Who's your cute little kitty? Who's your cute little kitty? Who's your
Oh
booja?
my god,
Kitty, go on. Go on.
The second time we hear that voice is when we press the button on the boat.
Here, kitty. Here, kitty. Meow.
For now, there's nothing terrible about this Easter egg. Just a cat and a man who's clearly delighted with the animal. However, the next and last time we hear the voice of this cat lover is in a place, well, very similar to a tomb.
Hey, Togo!
I want the world. I want the whole world. And if I don't get the
Here, kitty! Togo! Togo! Here, kitty! Here, kitty!
So, I'm getting the worst. You wanna blink him? Nobody.
Nobody knows exactly what it's all about, though. The fans agree that one person had a kitten that he loved very much. When this kitty called Togo was in danger, the guy wanted to save it, but in the end he suffered himself, and now the character of the player is at his grave. What's happened to the cat, of course, is not known, nor is it clear whose voice it is, but some fans believe that it sounds a lot like the voice of Noob, the hero of the TV series Battlefield Friends. Is it really like that, or did the creators of the game simply decide to honour the memory of a beloved and deceased cat that no one knows? Whatever it is, the Easter egg is pretty sad. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Although attentive players manage to find enough Easter eggs in this game, not all of them have a story behind them, let alone cause emotions. However, the Easter egg can be found on the cemetery in Sanctuary, and there's a story behind it, and is very sad. If you sit next to the lilac flowers in different parts of the cemetery, you can hear several voices. Not everyone knew what the players had to understand when they heard this Easter egg, though. However, the most attentive remembered that the Mind the Gap campaign ends with a short video showing the Davis family vacation in London.
Are you recording? Okay, so this is day 3, London, and we're off to... Sarah, tell Daddy where we're going. We're going to Big Ben. Daddy, look over here. Look at me, Daddy.
sound familiar? Yes, you understood correctly. The voices we hear in the cemetery belong to the people buried there, and the 3 graves you see on the screen belong to the members of the Davis family. Batman Arkham City. You probably hadn't thought that the story of Bruce Wayne's transformation into Batman is very sad. It all started with the death of his parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne. They were coming back from the movies when the thief Joe Chill saw a pearl necklace around the woman's neck and decided to steal it. Bruce's father, Tom, rushed to protect his wife, but unfortunately was shot in the stomach. Martha was killed almost immediately afterwards for shouting too loudly, and all this happens in front of the child. In the game Batman Arkham City, the player can visit the place where the Batman story began. 2 bodies are outlined on the asphalt, a red rose lies next to it, and if you click on it, Batman falls to one knee, and the player can hear with his own ears how the tragedy unfolded.
I can't believe you insisted on sitting through that movie again, Bruce. Come on, we'll be late for Alfred.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Go easy on him, Tom. He loved it so. Alfred will wait. Keep up, Bruce. Where are you taking us?
We can cut through here. Please, there's no need for this.
Daddy! Tom! Oh, God, Tom! Stay away from me! Run, Bruce! Mommy!
Grand Theft Auto 5. Surely you know the story of the incredible dog Hachiko. However, the story of the Skye Terrier Greyfriars Bobby is just as moving, but for some reason hardly anyone knows it. This dog faithfully guarded its owner's grave until its own death. It happened in Edinburgh, Scotland. Greyfriars Bobby lived 14 years longer than his owner, and during all this time refused to leave the cemetery. The dog rarely walked away from its beloved owner, only to eat. The owner of a nearby restaurant fed him, and he would go home only when there were absolutely ferocious frosts. The dog died in 1872, and this story moved the locals so much that in Bobby's honor, they even erected a monument. However, it seems that history has transcended frontiers. The creators of Grand Theft Auto 5 decided to put a dog in the game, a small terrier that runs through the cemetery and finally sits near one of the graves. Now, Greyfriars Bobby will, in a sense, be able to protect his beloved master forever. Here's another Easter egg that attentive players managed to find in the game Grand Theft Auto 5. It is related to a deceased employee of the Rockstar Games company who was involved in the creation of this game. Chris Edwards worked for the company for many years. However, unfortunately, he died just before his 45th birthday. The developers perpetuated him in the game by placing a sign with the inscription, "In memory of Chris Edwards," on a bench. Spider-Man PS4. The developers of the new Spider-Man game released earlier this fall created a virtual New York for the superhero fans, which you can explore as you like. And of course, some fans didn't forget to visit the cemetery, waiting to see Uncle Ben's grave, and they were rewarded. The mere presence of this tomb in the game is very sad, it's true, but it gets even sadder when Peter starts talking suddenly.
Uncle Ben? Uncle Ben? Hey, Uncle Ben. Miss you. Doing my best to make you proud.
Oh, Spidey, don't worry. Uncle Ben is proud of you. We are 100% sure of that. Well, most likely you've heard this story, but it's also sad, so we have to tell you. On September the 7th, when Spider-Man was released, players noticed a curious inscription on the poster of one of the movie theaters. "Maddie, will you marry me?" Turns out that a blogger, Tyler Schultz, decided to propose to his girlfriend in a very original way. But the wedding didn't take place. No, don't worry, this time there were no deaths. Just a few weeks before the game's release, Maddie ended the 5-year relationship and left him for his own brother. And although very soon the developers of the game, upon learning what happened, removed the inscription, some believe that this Easter egg will remain forever in history as the saddest. Half-Life 2. Players who've completed the entire Half-Life 2 game may have noticed that from time to time in the story they met a couple, a man and a woman, comforting each other. At that time, these secondary characters generated many questions among the players. Therefore, the developers have officially confirmed that in the main game and in 2 of its episodes, the players actually find the same couple.
I can't take it anymore.
Questions, just basic
What are we going to do?
We'll think of something.
When is it all going to end?
Lots more questions.
Please.
It's all right.
What are we going to do?
Put Kleiner in charge. You smell that? It's freedom.
Hey, you never know. I can't believe this day has finally
How
come.
about that?
No one knows, though, how their story ended. However, some players believe that the developers have prepared a logical and very sad end for the couple. Many agree with the idea that the skeletons of those on the sofa sitting in a hug are of the same couple, and that death found them at the most unexpected moment. Battlefield 1. Finally, we're going to show you another Easter egg.
Never had bacon. It ruins everything without bacon forever. I never get Hulu. With live TV and tons of shows and movies, it's like the bacon of TV.
That the players found in Battlefield 1. To activate it, you must spawn at the German side, go towards the city, and enter this building on the corner. Inside there's a white door, and you have to hit it several times. Immediately after this, the house is filled with the crying of a child, and the silent whisper of his mother trying to console him. It's difficult even to imagine how the mother feels, along with the unfortunate child being in the ruins of the building in the middle of the war. We don't know if this Easter egg is a real reference, but in any case, it's not a very funny story, so to speak. Hey, stop being lazy. It's time to use that brain of yours. Welcome to Brain Time. Incredible facts from the past, the present, and even the future. The power of nature and wild animals, amazing facts and unsolved mysteries. You'll find all this and much more here. Subscribe now. You won't regret it.
Hello, friends. We don't often think about this, but our planet is a mine of mysteries. Not one, not 10, not even 20 lives would be enough to go to every place on our great Earth. But you know what? There's no reason to get sad, because living constantly learning new things is much more interesting. And today, we have the opportunity to continue increasing our knowledge about our planet. Keep watching to discover the most beautiful and unusual places in the world. Let's get it on. Darvaza Crater. In Turkmenistan, 90 kilometers from the Olive Urban, there is a place so strange and surprising that you involuntarily connect it with the dark and mystical forces. Travelers call this hole full of flames Door to Hell, or Gates of Hell. We are sure that if Darvaza's crater had existed in ancient times, people would have been horrified. However, it appeared recently, and modern people are delighted with it, because, of course, there are no dark forces involved in its appearance. The story is quite simple. In 1971, an underground accumulation of gas was found in this place. Drilling soon began, but the Earth, with all the equipment, collapsed. As you probably know, gas is dangerous to people and animals. Therefore, the crater was set on fire. The idea was that the fire would burn out all the gas, and after a few days it would go out. Yet, no one expected the accumulation of gas to be so great. The crater still burns to this day, attracting tourists from all over the world. Hakadalar Valley. The first fountains appeared in ancient Egypt. We don't know what motivated their creators to implement such an original idea, but we wouldn't be surprised if they had been inspired by nature. The world, of course, has its own natural fountains, known as geysers. Some of the most famous and beautiful geysers in Europe are Geysir and Stråkr, located in the Hakadalar Valley in the southern part of Iceland. During its eruption, the first geyser throws water at a height of up to 60 meters, although it doesn't do it very often. During periods of calm, the eruption site looks like a beautiful green, fairly common lake. But the second geyser, Stråkr, releases water approximately every 10 minutes, at a height of 30 meters. Cano Cristales. If you happen to be in Colombia, don't miss the opportunity to visit the city of Cano Cristales. The locals call the river that flows in this place the River of Five Colors. As you can imagine, It received its nickname not by chance. The fact is that the bottom of the river, in almost its entire length, is covered by special algae of the species Macarenia calavigera. From December to August, they have a green color, and in September they change suddenly, becoming bright pink. The result is a multicolored river. The blue color of the sky, the yellow of the sand, the green of other algae, the black of the stones. No wonder they say that nature is the best artist in the world. Waitomo Caves, New Zealand. If you went to the edge of the world, in New Zealand, you could see the incredible beauty of this spectacle. A cave with a roof full of stars. Well, they're not really stars, but they're very similar. Honestly, we like the sky of Waitomo Caves more than a starry sky on a normal night. How about you? Well, it's probably time to stop calling these incredible bright spots stars, because they are actually living organisms. The fungus gnats that have chosen the underground labyrinths of this cave as their home. Nowhere else in the world will you find them. They need light to hunt. The hungrier the insect, the greater its glow, attracting the glow of other insects, like a flashlight in the dark. Thousands of these creatures radiate such an amazingly bright blue light that it outshines any man-made light installation. Lençois Maranhenses National Park. For 6 months a year, the Lençois Maranhenses National Park in Brazil has nothing special. Just sand, 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 and... what is that? Wow, more sand. There's not even any vegetation. However, during the rainy season, this place is transformed. The water accumulates between the dunes, forming fantastic crystalline blue lagoons. It looks incredibly impressive. By the way, the water temperature in the lagoons reaches 30 degrees, so tourists actively use the place for swimming. Oh, we'd like to be there now. Antelope Canyon. Virtually everyone on the planet has heard of the Grand Canyon, but the Antelope Canyon for some reason is known by very few people, and it's a pity because, well, just look at this place. Surprisingly smooth walls, quirky shapes, colors that resemble the skin of an antelope. By the way, it's because of them that the canyon got its name. This beautiful place is located in the United States, in the state of Arizona, and in fact, the Antelope Canyon has two parts, the upper one and the lower one, so this is a doubly beautiful place. You're probably wondering how the canyon got such beautiful shapes. The fact is that every few years it is flooded with rainwater. When its level drops, it flows slowly through the walls, carrying with it grains of sand. This happened for many, many years, resulting in this beautiful place. And what incredibly beautiful places do you know? Tell us in the comments. Maybe we'll talk about them sometime. See you soon.
It's been 50 years since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot to death on a motel balcony in Memphis, Tennessee. And over the decades, he has become one of the most revered figures in American history. There is an impressive memorial to him in Washington, D.C., and a museum celebrating his life in Atlanta, Georgia. Countless schools and boulevards have been named after him, and a national holiday is dedicated to his memory. How is it then that so much of his legacy, what he hoped to pass on to the future, has been lost? King wanted equality under the law and said, famously, that people ought to judge one another based on character, not skin color. But he also believed that blacks had an important role to play in their own advancement. The black civil rights battles in America are now over, and King's side won. The best indication of that may be that King has had no real successor. If black Americans were still faced with legitimate threats to civil rights, such as legal discrimination or voter disenfranchisement, it's likely that leaders of King's caliber would have emerged to carry on the fight. Instead, what we have today are pretenders who have turned the civil rights movement into an industry, if not a racket. And what have these racketeers accomplished? A lot for themselves, and very little for their constituents. Racial gaps in income.
G'day fellas, welcome to a game called Happy Room. Yeah, it's basically a torture simulator. Yeah, we like to have fun here on the Laser Beam channel. See this dude, number 99? Yeah, he's our next victim. Every victim gets a number. So before this video started, I killed 98 of them. But how this game works is you torture people, get money, and get more weapons up here. The more damage you do, the more stuff you unlock. But I've built this to start with. I call it, my Sora coaster. It's a sore roller coaster. That's a good joke. Let me show you how it works. Oh, the guy gets grinded up. Oh! Ready? Boom! There's a shotgun over there. There's a couple archers. There's a teleporter. dude just gets fucking pulverized. That worked crazier than I ever expected. Look at the blood. Yeah, basically I'm about to set a new damage world record. That's for certain. Oh god. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. The teleporter drops mines. Yeah, I just unlocked a minigun and he's still going. This'll probably be the last one because the saws are out of energy, but look at that picture. That's gorgeous. Yeah, so the game is pretty much just kill stuff constantly. But we got a minigun. I want to test that out. So let's delete them. And then buy a minigun. Put it with our shotgun. And then let's test the Sora coaster once more. Oh, it sounds so good. Oh! Poor dude got wrecked. Come on, here he goes again. Another trip down the roller coaster. Oh, God! That minigun is a beast! Oh, yeah. Oh, he's going... Oh, no, he caught the jumper thingy instead of the teleporter. That's interesting. Oh, it ain't over yet. Well, maybe it is. Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. One more trip through. What a legend. New points world record. Yeah, so we can kind of build whatever room we want. Like, we can clear that. Let's build a bunch of miniguns, and then I'll show you what I want to do. I'll use the source again to build him a little pathway, and down into this. Yeah, basically I'm building another Sora coaster. Shut up. Then let's stick some crossbows up the top there for extra damage. Oh.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Let's do that avalanche thing again. I forgot I was streaming, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Kiki. Hands in my pocket, turn to my dance. Hands in my pocket, turn to my dance. Stop. This game doo-doo. I'm just joking. I'm not. Wow. Already dropped bombs. Oh. Oh my gosh, and I'm already dropping donuts. That's sad. I just started and I'm already dropping donuts. Come here, boy. Stop it. No, freaky. Stack of potatoes. Suck. Can I eat those? Yeet. Well, thank you for the boost. I really love you. Watch this. Yeet.